Bang, bang, bang. Pull my devil trigger. Hey guys, what's going on? So, it's Devil May Cry 5, the crazy ride. I have not played a Devil May Cry game in a long time, and I'm really happy that this one's good. This one's good. It's much better than the DMC one that Team Ninja made or whatever. So, what makes this Devil May Cry good? Well, the first thing I'd have to say is that, and it might sound like a criticism, but Devil May Cry just keeps remaking the same game over and over again, at least since 3, which isn't a bad thing because they keep adding a bunch of really cool new features to it. And what I mean by this is, you know, in Devil May Cry 3 you have Dante's moveset, and you kind of had his 4 styles, which were Trickster, Gunslinger, Swordmaster, and Royal Guard. And those are still in this game, but then they keep adding new mechanics, new weapons, and it feels kind of like the same base core gameplay, but just expanded on in really new creative ways. Plus you have new enemies to fight and all this kind of stuff, and it is honestly a new game, I'm not saying, but the core mechanics, I feel they solidified in 3 and they've been bringing it forward. And I feel like that is really emphasized by a game like Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, where they just released Devil May Cry 4 with no new story or anything. Well, I played a bit of it, so I don't know, but like, it was essentially the exact same game, except you could play as Trish, Mary, and Virgil. So anyway, I'm very excited. I'm very happy to talk about this game because it is very fun. I would say more fun than the other Devil May Cries. And I'm going to put it out there, I'm not really an action game guy, but I like action games, but games where it's very difficult, I don't really gravitate to those games, to be honest. Fighting games are kind of so-so with me. The only fighting game I really enjoy is Smash. So I do love, so first of all, my favorite one before this is still 3. After playing this game, I think it's still 3. Dante's Awakening is just the style of it, the gameplay, despite its difficulty, is a lot of fun. That being said, I'm going to say that 5, I want to say it feels much easier than the other ones, and maybe that's because 3's difficulty was like spiked or whatever, but I definitely got the impression that it was much easier for me to pull off combos and do all the kind of cool stuff in Devil May Cry 5, and I was playing on the normal difficulty, which is I think Demon Hunter. And I didn't start on human, which is what I usually do, so I was actually pleasantly surprised when it was not as punishing as I thought it would be. So what are some major improvements? Well, the first major thing is, so Nero he's lost his arm, and they've given him a series of robot arms, and so the main way this changes gameplay is that each of your arms has a sort of, not a durability, but like after a certain amount of uses, it'll stop working. So instead of your circle button being the normal kind of grab attack, it can be a bunch of different things, and then once you use it enough, it switches to something else. It's really cool how you can mess around with this, because sometimes you can just hold it down and you can use all of the arm at once and destroy it in one blast, or you can press L1, I think, and that'll just dislodge the arm and just totally make an explosion if you're about to get hit, or you're about to get out of a sticky situation, or do like lots of damage to the enemy, and you just blow it up very quickly, which is also cool. So that's what they changed with Nero. Pretty much everything else about Nero is, I think, more or less the same. One small complaint that came to mind is that I didn't like the Red Queen gauge in this game. When you rev it up, I don't know. I prefer Devil May Cry 4. I don't know why. Just a small thing to nitpick about. Anyway, and of course, you know, Dante's back. I mean, spoilers, like he's in every trailer. So Dante gets some new weapons too, of course, and that's, you know, always a big game changer. His moveset though, Trickster, etc., are pretty much the same standard. I mean, I haven't been able to experiment a lot with it. Like, I just beat it once yesterday, so I'm still just kind of taking it all in. And of course, the newest addition is the character V. From what I gather, and my own opinion as well, is that V is not great. I mean, The funny thing is, if you play V, you're gonna get triple S rank on pretty much everything, and that's kind of the issue, that he's almost too easy to play as. And V is very interesting because what his whole thing is that he summons monsters who were previously in the series. Shadow from DMC1, Griffin, but like a smaller version, also from DMC1. And so Griffin is your range attack, Shadow is your your triangle close range attack, and he also has his Devil Trigger, which is he summons Nightmare, which was a boss in DMC1, but now it's kind of redesigned, so it's not totally OP. It is OP though. Actually, you'll always get S rank on these levels because it's just too easy, and that's kind of like it's a weird complaint about to have a DMC game. It's too easy, and besides all that, overall it does feel very good. I think my favorite to play is Nero. I just think he's balanced well. I don't know. And again, talking about different kind of upgrades and stuff. So they messed around with Nero's play style, and near the end of the game, they actually give him a Devil Triggers. Oh wow! But it's interesting that they kind of mess around with the character and they change certain things about him. But yeah, I think it's good that this game feels a lot easier because it's very welcoming to newcomers. And if I played on Devil or Demon Hunter and that was fine, then I'm sure the human difficulty would be fine for most people as well, especially newcomers. Was my point. About the story. Okay, so yeah. So this part is a bit. So the story is good, I guess. Okay, who plays Devil May Cry for the story? But it doesn't matter. Like the tone of 3 was incredible. I loved it. It was about two brothers fighting toe to toe, head to head. One about motivation, the other one about doing justice or doing the right thing. I can't remember what Dante's motivations are besides just being cool. I honestly can't remember, but it doesn't matter because he's just being cool. So there is an enemy in this game and there is conflict and whatever, but it turns out the entire conflict is kind of created by the characters themselves. So by the end of the game, all of the conflict that you cause is kind of your own fault. Kind of like, oh, shucks. Oh, darn it. But then you have to, overcome your differences. And, it's, I don't know, it was kind of strange. The setting, it's kind of like in the London kind of area, which is fine, I guess. Again, I'm always very picky about my environments. I found that 4's environments were the best. I don't know why. Especially in the beginning, in the European style town, that was my favorite part of the game. Playing as Nero. And the other weird thing is that I had after playing this game is I actually wanted to go back to Devil May Cry 4 and play it and be like, which one is better? Because they're both very good games. People like Devil May Cry 4 a lot less because you only play half of it as Dante, and I guess people don't like Nero? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the Metal Gear Solid 2 effect here or whatnot. But I really did enjoy this game. What else can I say about it? Bosses are good, enemies are great. I love juggling enemies, and it was much easier, I feel, in this game. It does get pretty difficult with some bosses later on. A lot of the weapons, some weapons make returns. There's some new weapons for Dante, and there's just so much content here that you could really grind and get good at the game, so to speak. It's not my style. If anything, it's my brother's favorite franchise, so I'll let him grind until the cows come home. I guess the only other thing I can really say about this game is that it's Devil May Cry in 2019 or 2018 or whenever this game came out, and that's kind of an accomplishment on its own. I mean, so many studios are making sequels that are half-hearted or broken or outsourced to a different studio, and it just doesn't have that same magic. That is not the case at all. This is DMC, and as the fans have said, DMC is back, baby. There's certain scenes in this game that just can only exist in a Devil May Cry game, and I'm not going to talk about them because they're just, you just gotta experience them because that's Devil May Cry. It can't be spoiled for you. The other thing I noticed that they also pulled was Vital Stars. You can no longer buy Vital Stars. I think you could still buy them in 4. So healing items are totally gone for some reason. I'm not sure why, because there's not a healing mechanic that replaced it, unless they just lowered the difficulty to compensate for that. But yeah, there's just so many cool little hidden combos and stuff where if you're the kind of person that likes exploring gameplay and exploring little exploits and tricks and stuff, there are almost infinite amount of combinations that you can do in this game as characters. Nero's back, he's awesome. Dante's back, he's awesome. V is there, and you can do his levels and be done with them, but there's not a lot of complexity to V, I feel. Unfortunately. But yeah, Devil May Cry is back, guys. So, you know, rev up those PlayStations and pull your devil trigger. I'll catch you next time, guys.